Well, hey there. So we're all kind of grounded at home today, thanks to Hurricane Debbie. So that means that most of our meeting is going to have to probably get broken up into some pieces and pushed a little bit later in the week when we can finally gather again. And so our assistant head of school, Natalia, suggested maybe some of us could kind of record our pieces and just push them out, and that way you could watch them on your own time, and then when we get together we won't have quite as much to cover. And I felt like my pieces I could definitely do this way. So with your blessing, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of share what I would have shared in person, and that way you can have this to listen to or watch from home, and then the pieces that really have to be done in person we can do later. So my piece is all about mission-aligned practices. And so I just want to talk a little bit today about our culture, because our culture is really, I think, what sets our school apart from every other. I'm someone who's worked in a lot of schools over the years. I think that I've worked in the public setting, I've worked in the private setting. All three of the private schools that I have worked in have been Christian schools, but this is the only one that really felt like that. Like it feels the way a Christian community should feel. And I am not the only one who thinks that. I think all of us love our culture and want so much to protect it and to continue to grow it. And you were hired because we all agreed that you would help us to protect and extend our culture. So you're starting off right away knowing that we see you and we are so excited about what you'll be bringing to our school. We feel like it'll be like slipping on that perfect fit glove, and you're also going to help us to grow and evolve in even better ways. So that's something that we're just really, I think, excited about, is how you'll help us to grow our community. Our mission, and everybody knows it because we say it several times a day at school, is to inspire a passion for learning, a life of integrity, and a heart for Christian service. So what that means is that first and foremost, we want our children to love learning, and that happens when grown-ups love learning. Because let's face it, when you are in the presence of someone who is curious and kind of always seeking to learn and grow, and is passionate about that, it's contagious. So it starts by attracting adults in whatever capacity they're serving the school, who are eager to keep growing as human beings. And so we start there, and then we do everything in our power to make school a place kids want to come to. And I think what you're going to discover from day one, well, there will probably be one or two who are crying on their way in because they're scared of their first day. That may happen. But day 2 or 3, these kids love coming to school. They love their school. In fact, they're upset when it's, a day off on Friday or a day off on Monday, because they're going to miss us, especially in the younger ages. So that's by design. We are very intentional about making sure that our kids love coming here, that it doesn't feel like drudgery. It feels like the band is back together. They can't wait to see their friends. They can't wait to see their teachers. They can't wait to see administrators. They can't wait to see Mr. Harry, who's out there blowing the leaves off of the sidewalk every day. I mean, they can't wait to spend time with us because they know that we are welcoming them with open arms. We're so glad to see them too, and it's just like family coming together every day. As someone who's out there watching the kids come in at arrival, I can tell you that's how it is every day. Our kids come in so happy to be here. And if someone is upset, we could see it right away, and that's like, let's pull them aside. What happened? Are you okay? How can I help heal whatever went wrong this morning? So that's our culture, a culture of trying to make sure that our kids, first and foremost, love coming to school and love learning, that it never gets old, never gets trite, never gets stale. So there's that piece, and then there's that a life of integrity. And I think of a life of integrity as meaning that what you see on the outside is matching what's on the inside. So, if I say to you, I care about people, that I really on the inside care about people all the time, and it shows on the outside that there's not like a mask there. If I say to you I'm happy here, that I really am happy here on the inside, and it shows on the outside. I'm not putting on a performance. It's not a show that ends at 3 o'clock and then I'm like, oh, it's not that. It's for real. And that also means that it's for real when you're not having a good day. Now, that's not to say you're going to spread ill will, but that you can be real with people and say, I had a rough night last night. You know, my mother is sick and I spent the evening there, or whatever it is, that you have a place that you can be your authentic self. That you can say, I'm struggling with this, or I need prayers in that. Obviously, we're careful about the things we share with children, but because we really want them to have a very pure and joyful experience here at school. But we can be real with them too about, hey, I'm disappointed. You know, when you went to your resource class, you didn't treat that teacher with the same kind of loving respect that we usually do, and that didn't feel good when I heard that. Let's have that conversation. And your kids are going to feel the impact of like, yeah, we're having a real conversation about a choice we made or whatever. So that integrity is important. And when it comes to children, that integrity is about telling the truth, even when it's hard, even when it means saying I'm sorry or I made a mistake. And that's a big part of growing up, is owning our mistakes and doing what we can to try and make them right, or at least asking for forgiveness. One of the things I'm always telling the children is, I can handle your truth, but I can't handle the lies. So we're trying to teach them to be courageous in life, recognize that they are imperfect, and own and grow from their mistakes. So that life of integrity, and then a heart for Christian service. We talk all the time sort of from a Mr. Rogers perspective of like, who are the people in your neighborhood? And it's everybody. And a heart for Christian service means it matters to me what happens to you in your life. It's not fair if you don't have access to the things that I have access to in terms of all those basic needs that we should all have. We should all have a safe home. We should all have nutritious food to eat, clean water. We should all have loving grown-ups taking care of us that we can count on. We should all have a good night's sleep. There's so many things that we could list. And we want our children to recognize that it's great if you have that, but not everyone does. And as Christians, we have to care about what happens to everyone else too. And so what can we do to take care of people who need care? And so there is a very strong emphasis at every grade level and across the school of outreach. And not just kind of like send a check, but like let's put some skin in the game. Let's make something. Let's build something. Let's take time we're going to make sandwiches and meals, and we're going to make blankets, and to give children a sense of like, this has a part of me in it, and I'm giving it to you because we're all part of the same. We're all children of God. And so that heart for Christian service, we just want them to grow up always thinking in terms of, I'm grateful for what I have, and outreach is a natural expression of that. I'm grateful to God. Let me share what God's given me. So that's our mission, and I would say our culture, it kind of is formed by that mission because everyone is so genuinely committed to it. So we all love learning. We're always learning. There is a high level of integrity. People are real with each other. I can come down the hall with a look on my face, and a teacher will pull me in the room and say, do you need to pray? And I'm like, gosh, I really did need to pray. I didn't even realize how much I needed it. I just had a lot on my mind. But people are sensitive to each other. They keep an eye out for each other. And while no one wants to hurt anyone's feelings, people are willing to have hard conversations to heal things when it's needed. And I appreciate that. So that culture, I think, and everyone has such a Christian heart and is so all in on giving, which is expressed in a million ways. There's not even enough time in this video to talk about all the giving that our teachers do of their time, their talent, that our staff and administrators do. All of the fundraising that happens at our school. It's just sort of, I'm speechless trying to describe it, as you can tell. So that's our culture, and our teachers are, I would say, really protective of that. They want to make sure that doesn't change, because it's why I think everyone loves coming to work here, and they would never want that to be compromised. And I think because this is such a mission-driven school, we all understand that God's at work here, and none of us want to do anything to compromise that. We want to make sure we don't get in the way of the great things He is doing in our space. So, cultivating and extending the kingdom through hospitality. We talk a lot at our school about building the kingdom of heaven here. The Lord's Prayer says, that we want God's work to be done here on earth as it is in heaven. And we understand that if we get it right, we can be those hands of God and the feet of God building things here. And so one way that we do that is through hospitality. I think of like kind of your Martha and Mary, like Martha working so hard when Jesus arrived at the house. She really wanted everything to be just right. And I know that that's what we do out of love. I mean, when my brother and his family come to visit, I'm cleaning like a mad woman because I want everything to be just right. And it's not because I'm neurotic. That could potentially be argued, but it's not really because I'm neurotic. It's mostly because I just love them so much that I want the best for them. I want to lay out the red carpet for these people that I love. And that's how we are with our families and our students. We roll out the red carpet. The hospitality is next level. If someone walks in and they ask me, like, which way is the adult bathroom? I'm going to drop what I'm doing and I'm going to walk them there myself because I want them to feel they were that important. Like, oh my goodness, let me take you there and I can ask you questions. What brings you here? Why are you on campus? So it's that kind of hospitality is also what makes this school so different. It's not like parents just drop off and go. It would be if a relative showed up at my house, I wouldn't just take their bags and close the door on them. I bring them in and take care of them. And that's how we are at our school too. Really making time for people because it's all about people. We delight in extending the kingdom of heaven in every way we can. And that means that every touch we have with parents, whether it's an email, a text, an in-person conversation, a phone call, a wave from a parking lot, we want it to feel like they've been touched by an angel because everybody deserves that. So that means that our focus is really on relationship building. That's what it's all about. Yes, we are teaching, there's no doubt about that, and it's so much fun, but our focus is on developing relationships that are based on trust and mutual respect. They're based on love and they're based on care, and that's at the center of everything we do, whether it's mom, dad, step-parent, illegitimate girlfriend. I mean, we're kind to everybody, right? Our grandparents love coming, our children love coming. Most of the people who come to our school come because of word of mouth, because a school's a school, they're everywhere. But when people hear what it feels like at our school, they say, you got to come, this is amazing. And we want to make sure that that is true every day. So it is all about relationship building. So, we very rarely just sort of send a one-off text or email. We want to call, we want to talk, or if I send an email, it's going to be sort of thoughtfully composed so it really touches their heart and conveys what needs to be conveyed. But we just see every opportunity that we interact with our people, whether they're people who already belong to the school or maybe it's future potential families. Again, we want it to feel like the highest level of hospitality and love because that's who we are. If we say we're a Christian school, then we need to do everything we can to convey the love and grace of Jesus. How do we communicate with parents? Well, we try to get back within 24 hours for sure. I always tell my teachers, if it's an opportunity to build relationship, call. If there is an issue, call. They need to hear your sweet voice, your care, and your concern. I would call early, even if it was for something small, and just forge that partnership with parents. I would use email to convey something that is like a quick and easy, like, don't forget that tomorrow is whatever, bring your guinea pig to school day or something. But for the most part, I'm all about face-to-face or phone calls or FaceTime so that you can just build trust. And just remembering that trust is built in small moments. It's never something big and grand. It's little teeny things that people do that make the difference. And so not sort of taking for granted those small opportunities to build trust in relationship. We are proactive. We don't wait for problems to possibly pop up and hit us in the side of the head. We take everything on proactively. So taking a proactive stance might mean calling each family just ahead of the new school year to say, hi, I'm Mr. or Miss so-and-so, and I just wanted to reach out and say I'm so excited to get to know your child. How are they feeling? Are they nervous? Are they excited? And just making that connection. We are proactive about the minute someone has done or said something that really isn't aligned with our culture, maybe with something very unkind or almost inappropriate, just making that call and say, hey, I know this is going to be hard to hear, but I'm a partner with you. I want to help. Junior, accidentally said this today. Now, I talked to him, but I think since this is the first time it's ever happened, it'd be good for him to know that you and I talk, because I'll just remind him that you and I are on the same team, and we both have the very highest hopes for him and want him to be his best self. So if you let him know we talked, I have a feeling this will not happen again. And on a scale of 0 to 10, this is a 1, but I feel like if we take care of this now, it won't even happen in the future, and we'll both be so glad, yes, and have that conversation. So it's about being proactive. Something else I can tell you is that our relationship with parents is very, very collaborative. They are all in. They wouldn't have signed up for private education if they weren't really, really dedicated to ensuring their child has a great education. So they are partners, and I tell them that all the time. Miss Small is notorious for saying, we're a family, we're a family. And I think that goes a long way in building that kind of real close, vulnerability as we talk about children. Anytime I talk with a parent about their child, their vulnerability is all over their face, because they're thinking, is this my fault? What did I do? And so everything has to be handled very tenderly. There's that integrity piece, but always tenderness and grace and compassion, and you can unpack like, hey, I get it. I've got a kiddo too, and this is hard, but I know that they can do it. We've got this together. Proactive, collaborative, super empathetic, just feeling their feelings and being there with them, and just growth focused. Like, hey, they're all a work in progress, and we've got this. We've got the whole year ahead of us, and we're going to do great work together. And it's good to think about all of us grown-ups also being a work in progress. Communication. You'll send a weekly newsletter, and that newsletter is honestly, it's like, okay, here are a few things you need to know about the upcoming week, but mostly it's meant to be kind of that touched by an angel thing. It's a chance to connect with families on, our Crossroads program. Each month we're kind of looking at a different fruit of the Spirit, and so maybe letting families know, this is what we're talking about this week or this month. Here's our verse that we're learning. You could practice it at home with your child, ask them about this or that, and just kind of helping them to extend the ministry we're doing at our school into the home space, because lots of families want to raise their children in the faith, but they aren't sure how. And so if you can say to them, well, this month we're learning all about, humility or grace or patience or courage, and give them some ideas about how you're doing that in the classroom, that can help them do it at home too, and just helps them to feel the power of what we're doing, and that they are empowered to join in that work too. So you'll have your weekly newsletters, and if you're a homeroom teacher, you have that. Definitely copy or blind copy me and Natalia on that. She's, again, that assistant head of school. We just like to always kind of keep a finger on the pulse of what's going on. It's really nice for us to see what you're writing too. It really just gives us more reasons to brag on you, because those are beautiful. So there's that. And then Friday folders. Most of the time we send all the kids' work from that week home in a Friday folder, and there's some information in there too. Each grade level kind of has a different way of having the kids kind of reflect on their week in that folder. And that goes home. I don't know exactly what everybody's processes are. Do parents sign it and return it? But those folders do come back on Monday. Hopefully they've been gutted. Parents kept all the guts from inside and sent the folder back for the new week. So we can talk and see what that looks like in different grade levels. So there's that piece. Let's see. The most important thing is that our children are loved. That really is, I know it seems like I shouldn't even have to say that. It's so obvious, but children don't come to us knowing their teachers love them. That's something that they kind of need us to prove it, right? They're not sure what to expect a lot of times, and they might be thinking, I missed last year's teacher. And so, the studies show that children are more likely to learn and to make great gains if they have a strong relationship with their teacher. And statistically, children will report they have a strong relationship with their teacher if they feel that their teacher cares about them, respects them, and cares about them. So it's all about Christ's love for us. So we just want to make sure that that's always right at the center of everything that we do. Kind of meeting kids where they're at. So obviously we want to be able to provide a really robust education. I'm always kind of balancing that though with making sure that we're not sort of just testing and moving on, like, oh, we've got to get through this. I feel like as a public school teacher, I always had this sense of sort of like a frenetic, I'm getting behind feeling. I've got to get through the next chapter. I've got to get through the next chapter. I really want to challenge that mentality and say, you don't have to teach them everything, but the teaching you do should be deep teaching. It should be an appropriate pace, and it should really be teaching them skills that are transferable in the same way that you don't need to teach them every capital of every state. It is important to teach them how to find out what the capitals are. You know what I mean? Like, that's a transferable skill, like learning the research skills. So I guess I'm just trying to say that I don't want you to sacrifice a sense of, I don't want you to sacrifice the quality of your teaching for the pace. It's more like I'd rather sacrifice the pace for the quality. And so, as you're doing your lesson planning, you'll look ahead at everything that you're hoping to accomplish over the course of the year. And I really want you to think about what is a reasonable pace, so that if something through the final testing looks like the kids didn't get it, I still have time to be able to go back and do that reteaching if I want to. I've got maybe an assistant teacher who can help, or I've got some flexibility on Fridays or whatever it is. But children can feel if a teacher is stressed. And there's like healthy stress, and then there's unhealthy stress. Like, we don't want to have teachers in an unhealthy stress, because the children will feel that too, and that will interfere with learning and retention. So I've been talking with my teachers a lot about unit planning. Like, create a unit, and maybe that unit lasts a month or a month and a half, and you have the whole thing kind of designed soup to nuts, right? And then you pace yourself through that. And within that unit, allow for different ways of kind of checking in along the way to make sure that learning is there. And then give yourself some grace. If you don't get to everything, you didn't get to everything. But if the process was really enjoyable, the kids learned a lot, that's a wonderful thing. So it's just different. It's hard to explain, but I feel like think in terms of the big picture. And try not to have the minutia of, I need to teach this, this, and this by next week. Try not to let that undermine the bigger picture of what you're trying to do. This year we're using Toddle to really house all of our lesson plans. That's not to say that you might not create your lesson plans in a Google Doc or a Word doc, but we're kind of uploading there, or you could create it in Toddle. But the goal is to do what we call backward design. So thinking in terms of what is the end result, what do I want my children to learn and be able to do, learn, understand, and be able to do, and then kind of going backwards, like, well, how would I assess that? Okay, then what lessons would I have to do to get there? And so it's kind of like backward design. And so we're going to be working with you, if you are a teacher, on how to create those units, or maybe you're kind of picking up where someone else left off in their design of units in Toddle. But we want to kind of work toward larger units that go deep, that are really fun and hands-on, that really build the core skills and understandings that you want them to build, without having a sense of like frenetic racing to keep up. All right. Postcards. This week, we're going to be passing out postcards to all of the homeroom teachers. And you're going to write a sweet little message about how you can't wait to meet them and who you are. You'll sign it, and those postcards you'll give back to us in the office, and we're going to mail them out. Now, our whole timeline might be pushed over a little bit because of the storm. We would have passed them out Tuesday, collected them Wednesday, and put them in the mail on Thursday, but we'll see how that goes. But if you are a homeroom teacher, we have a card that you'll fill out, and that's kind of how the kids discover who their teacher is that they're going to get that card in the mail. We will follow up with an email as well, just in case somebody's home address is not accurate in our records. But that's going to be going out. Personal appearance. So I am a big believer that everything speaks. What's on your walls sends a message. The state of your desk in your classroom sends a message. The decor in your room, whether it's 1,000 different colors or it's 2 or 3 colors, sends a message. Level of cleanliness and organization. Everything speaks. And that goes for us as well. Like, everything speaks. My shirt is saying choose kind. Even if it didn't have words, it would still speak. So, like today I washed my hair and took the time to do it because you matter to me. I want to put my best foot forward for you because I care about you, in the same way that I would get dressed up before going to church. And so even though I didn't just tell you that I got dressed up to look nice for this experience with you, because I want to be able to put my best foot forward for you, even though I just told you, even if I hadn't, you probably would have said, oh, she put herself together. Or maybe you wouldn't have thought of it, but if I had shown up with a towel around my head like I just got out of the shower, you might think, oh, didn't she care enough to put some effort in before doing this? And you'd wonder, what about that girl? So the way that we present ourselves, it really does say a lot. People find out a lot just by what we put forward. And so with that in mind, I do ask everyone to wear something that sort of speaks in a way that's aligned with our mission. So we want our kids to love learning. So if you're a PE coach, come in PE gear. Come in PE gear that shows you respect what you do as a living, that you think it's worthy of, having a shirt with maybe the school name on it. If you're a science teacher, buy a lab coat and get kids excited about, hey, if you want to be a scientist, we wear lab coats. Maybe we want to buy some for them too, because when you put that on, it sort of changes the way you think about yourself. So everything speaks. So taking the time to show, in the same way that I clean the house frantically, I'm going to make sure that I got myself ready before my brother and his family walk through the door. I'm not going to be like sweaty and in grubby clothes when they walk in. Same thing. When our kids and families all step on campus, we want them to know we pulled out all the stops for you. You matter to us. We did everything we could to present our best foot forward for you. And it's appropriate for what I do, right? I'm not showing up in a ball gown. It's appropriate for what I do. So whatever you teach or whatever way that you are serving our community, that the way you're dressed reflects, like I said, our culture. So we wouldn't want to have a shirt on that had something sarcastic on it. We also have, if you look in the employee handbook, some other rules, like we don't do spaghetti straps, like try to be modest, and, no leggings, unless you have something really long over it, like a tunic of some kind. So anyway, we do have some of those rules. But again, it's just meant to show we take our job seriously. We live in an era, generally speaking, where educators are not as respected as they should be. And I don't find that at our school. Our parents love our teachers. They respect them immensely. But I do always want teachers to dress in a way that says, I respect what I do. I think what I do changes the world. It's important, and I deserve respect. So, have that in mind. But you also, you can wear your cute matching shirts. You and your grade level teammate might have cute matching shirts. That's great. That sends the message we delight in what we do and we're a team. That's great. I love that message. So just keeping that in mind. In the same way that everything speaks in terms of what we're wearing and how we present ourselves, the same is true for our classroom and our offices. So it is really important that if you're a homeroom teacher, that your classroom is very intentionally designed. So my suggestion to most people is limit your color scheme to 3. I don't know why. 3 is just very divine, isn't it? So you could go with 2 colors, but that almost could be a little bit limiting. So as an example, a nice balance of colors could be, all right, I'm going to go with pale blue, pale green, and white. Or I'm going to go with black and white with a splash of pink. Or I'm going to go with a brown, a mossy green, and a splash of black. You know, like just to kind of bring everything in the room together, because a classroom has a lot. There's a lot going on, and it's tempting to just razzle-dazzle the whole place. But a large portion of your students will not be able to focus on what you're delivering or what they're doing with a learning partner or whatever if the room is just really, really distractingly awesome. So we want our rooms to kind of calm, right? So like not to be colors that are just going to be intense. Like red and yellow would be intense. That's a pizzeria to me. We want our rooms to kind of like calm, because kids are generally already showing up with a lot of energy. So a room that calms, that focuses, that's kind of tied together thoughtfully, and not cluttered would be great. Hey, by the way, I do really like yellow, so I'm not saying anything bad about yellow. But just be thoughtful about your color scheme, that hopefully it's not fighting for your kids' attention. Because if anyone gets your kids' attention, it should be you, not the room. I mean, the room should be beautiful. Again, clean, well organized. It's not just stuff all over the place. And then also equally important is the room has to be developmentally appropriate for them, and it should be empowering to them. They shouldn't have to ask you for things that are not dangerous, right? So have the materials for a writing center out. Have the materials for a math center out. Make sure that everything is within reach for them so that they can really function with the highest level of independence possible. Now you might be thinking, well, I don't know if my first graders are ready for a stapler. Well, they won't be until you've given them a mini lesson on how to use that tool. So, you might start the year with everything covered or with caution tape in front, and you're going to say, as I teach you how to use each of these tools, I'm going to remove that blanket or the caution tape or whatever, and then that's yours to use. But I'm going to teach it first in a mini lesson, and then you're going to get to practice it. And who knows, maybe you'll get a badge that says you get to use that tool. Maybe you can only use the stapler if you've gotten the badge for it. So you can figure that out. But the goal is to empower them. We don't really want them to have to ask you all the time, can I have a piece of paper? Can I have this? Can I have that? Because that's disempowering. And the more we can empower them to manage themselves in the room, the more we free you up to do what you need to do. All right, bulletin boards. Okay, if you're in the lower school, which is up through 3rd grade, you have a little bulletin board that's on your door. It is so cute when you walk down that lower school hallway and you see those bulletin boards. They are precious. They're adorable. I've never seen teachers who are more creative. They change with every month. They usually reflect the season, and maybe like a beautiful Bible verse, or maybe it reflects the fruit of the Spirit we're leaning into that month. They're absolutely precious. I apologize in advance because the wind is going to whip down that hallway every day, and it's going to pull up the trim. And the minute it pulls up the trim, it's going to look shoddy, and that stinks. So my best advice for you is to have a stapler right next to the door, ready, because you're going to staple something every day, and I'm so sorry. We took them down in the upper school because we just couldn't fight the battle. We couldn't win it. I could do that in the lower, but everyone kind of agrees that it's just such a pretty pop of color and so charming. And because it's lower school, it kind of needs that. So we're all just sort of suffering, and we just restaple every day. So there's that. But that one does need to get changed monthly, and it has to be beautiful, especially the extended day one. Like whoever is in that space, well, it's called Cub House now, but like there's a little preschool room where the 3 and 4-year-olds go, and their day finishes at 1 if they're going to stay for Cub House. And whoever is in that room with the kids really has to own that and change that monthly too, so that it's sweet. All the materials you need for that are in the workroom, and you're also welcome to buy stuff online too. We also always make sure that we've got things hanging in the hallway. There's lines out there that reflect the teaching and learning going on in the classroom. Lots of student art. We want to showcase that. Their work is more important than anything we are doing, so we want to get their work up and just showing how they're learning and growing over time. It's important to me that our homeroom teachers stand at the door every morning and greet every kiddo. And there's so many cute videos online that show different ways to greet: fist pumps, high five, hug, whatever it is. Our kids love it, and nothing says, "I have been waiting for you," like standing at the front door. And if you're not sure about that, look at a puppy. They're at that front door. My dog, every single day when I pull in, he's right in the front of the door because he heard the car and he is ready. And honestly, we should all feel what it's like to be greeted like that every single day. It's such a gift. And something to keep in mind is that we really never know what happened before they walked in your door, but you will know everything you need to know by how they walk up to your door. And if they just need a little high five, that's great. If they need a hug, that's great. And if they've got a long face, you can pull them aside and get down on a knee and see what's going on and see if you can't heal that before the day starts, because they're not going to learn if something's really bothering them. You have assistants usually floating around, so you've got that help. Upper school, the kids are a little more independent. I still say greet them at the door or out in the hallway when they're coming in. They're getting things unpacked in their locker. But we want to show them, like, you are why I'm here. And those are some of the small ways that we do that. Let's see, what else do we have here? Modeling hospitality, grace, responsibility, respect for self, others, and space. So when it comes to kiddos, well, really when it comes to discipline, I love Responsive Classroom. I think it's so simple to have 3 rules. I respect myself, I respect others, and I respect the spaces around me. I feel like that pretty much covers everything, right? And so I encourage every class, whether you are a pre-K 3 or 6th grade, to have 3 rules, and that's it. Nothing fancy. Now, in the really little grades, instead of respect, I use the word take care of. I take care of myself, I take care of others, I take care of the spaces. And so that means like the toys and the paint. I take care of the paint brushes. I clean up after I finish playing. That's taking care of the space. So you obviously have layers and layers of little lessons that help them to understand what it means to take care of yourself, what it means to take care of other people. But it gets very sophisticated. You know, by 6th grade, if someone says something unkind to you and you don't say anything to advocate for yourself, is that really taking care of yourself? No, because you deserve to be treated well. And so one way I respect myself is by saying, hey, when you said that hurt my feelings. Or when you spread that rumor, that really hurt me, and it's not true. So that's how we take care of ourselves. We also take care of ourselves by getting a good night's sleep, eating healthy food, spending time with friends. You know, like spending time on a phone is not taking care of self, not at all. So, you know, spending time with family, exercising, playing outside, trying to play with a new friend sometimes, that's taking care of self. Taking care of others is looking and seeing if someone's in need, showing respect to other people, kindness, etc. It goes on and on, but it's so relatable, and I've used it for years in all of my schools. I've used it 3 all the way up, and all the way up through 8th grade. So 3 rules just makes it easy for kids to be successful. And again, what that looks like at the different age levels is different, but the rules stay the same. And so we're always teaching that. We're also teaching children that this is a public, we're in public when we're in school. So that means that the way we behave and the things that come out of our mouth need to be appropriate for a public space. So the way they speak in our school is not the same as the way they might speak at home. So they might say, I want blank at home, right? But in school, they're going to say, may I please have? Because it's a public space. I tell children all the time, the way that you talk to other children at this lunch table has to be the same as if you were sitting with your parents and your grandparents in a restaurant. This is a public space. So you can't just say anything that comes into your head. We're going to be respectful of the fact this is a public space. That's very hard for children. They still just say whatever comes out of their mouth. But I always say, it's like we need restaurant manners right now. These are restaurant manners. And the way we speak, are you at home right now? You might jump on your couch at home, but we don't do that here because this is a public space. So that helps them. And kids are good code shifters as long as we hold them to it. They'll behave one way here and another way there. Like they're usually better around their grandparents, and that's because they're good at code shifting. So if they can do it for grandma, they can do it for us.